Hi, and welcome to Fabric Bias. It is Tuesday, December 12th, and this is my continuing saga of batch sewing the gifts that I'm making for Christmas and being behind while doing it. So today's steps that I took today, I have all my interior pockets sewn, and I decided that I would do my interior pockets and then get my whole interior together and get these stitched to my interior pockets, so I wasn't dealing with trying to figure out when I had the pockets together, was it an interior pocket or an exterior pocket? Now, the exterior pockets are quilted. These ones are lined with fusible fleece. Pretty easy to tell apart, but just another step in the thinking process and another way for me to make a mistake. So I decided get these pockets done, get them attached to the linings, and then move on to sewing the exterior pockets on that one. So they're all stitched together. They're top stitched on each one. I finished all that, and they are pressed, and then they just have the bottom opening still on that one. So I did use the brayer, this guy here, and it was very handy to do. So I also, what I did after I got all this stitched together was I decided, as I said, I'm going to do my lining first. So I got all but these last two pieces here because I want to show you what I was doing. I got all of the corners notched out of my lining pieces here. And then my intent tonight is to get the pockets at least pinned into place on each one of them. Maybe not sewn, but pinned into place. Well, my cat is in here and wants to be part of my video. And then also to get marked for where I want to put the hook and loop tape on that. So I want to show you what I did here to figure out, to make this easier to cut and mark all of these pieces. So this is all the stuff I've cut off so far. I'm gonna get rid of that. So I'm not sure. I'm actually have my camera mounted way up high. I have to stand on a stool to look at it. So hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm doing in camera. So I'm not going to cut. I'm just going to show you how I marked and where I would be cutting once I know that I've actually filmed okay. So I'm going to get these pockets out of the way. The other thing I did with, while I was cutting the lining pieces, I would set the lining piece down. Sorry. Set the lining piece down, and then I would set down the corresponding pockets, so this stack ends up matching this stack. Okay, cat and dog. There we go. Dog's still in, cat's out on that one. So there they are. Let me get those out of the way. Okay, so in order to mark these and to go a little bit quicker, the first thing I did with each of my pieces was check to make sure that it was trued up. So it was actually at the size that I cut, the 15 inches wide by the 24 inches tall on that one. So I checked all my pieces before that I did that. I've already done that with this one. And then I stacked about 3 pieces together, making sure I lined them up really nice on the ends. I'll show you that right now, because I can see that I did not line it up. These are all, oh, this is the stuff that I used, or I'm going to be using today. So my chalk, rotary cutter, my rotary mat. I'm using an 18-inch ruler to help me out with, make it a little bit quicker, and my scissors, because I need all of that, and a 6-inch square. So, excuse me. Sorry. So, once I know the pieces are trued up, sorry, I made sure they're lined up together. This one's a little bit off. Let me put that together. Not too bad on that, and lined up here edge to edge. And then I'm going to put them in and make sure my mat is 24 inches wide. So I'm going to make sure it's lined up edge to edge with the mat. And so I need to mark, I don't know if you can see it on this one, but I need to mark my center markings here, and I don't have to actually do a full square on those. I just need the edge marking. So I'm not going to use this piece to do that. What I did was I took my ruler, and it's a little harder to do because right now my camera's in the way. But I just set this like this so I knew where 12 inches was, where my line was. So I didn't have to go and count, because I can't see it on this side. And so I know this is my 12-inch mark, and I would just put my ruler in place to mark my 12-inch mark here. And then I counted over 1, 2, and a half here, and then shifted my ruler. And I'm going to count this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Because I can't quite see. I'm at a really weird angle so I can film. So I'm going to go 1, 2, and a half and mark here. And then I move my ruler over to here on the 12-inch line and go 1, 2 and a half, 1, 2 and a half, and mark it here. And then I just lift up these pieces. Well, I actually ended up getting both pieces on one. I'm going to lift this up and mark it here. If I had a third piece, I would mark it there. I didn't want to go more than 3 because I thought I would not get my fabric stacked nicely. So that just saved me time. And then I went to this side and I could actually see the 12-inch marking, which I can't right now because my camera's in the way of my mat. So I'm going to count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that is my 12-inch marking. I'm going to go 2 and a half up from here and mark that one. Move this over 2 and a half. So I'm going to move this over here and go 1, 2 and a half. And I don't even know if this is on camera. I'll move it so you can see. So there on that. So 1, 2 and a half, 1, 2 and a half. I think that's going to be on camera. And then I just lift this up and mark underneath the piece underneath it. And as I said, I had 3 pieces, so I could do 3 pieces at once. So that made that quicker to do it that way. And then once I did that, I took these pieces and I took the one I wasn't working with and I set them aside. And then I folded this in half and lined it up and was really, really careful to make sure that my corners and my edges are lined up because I'm going to cut these together. So I don't want to cut, wasn't comfortable cutting different pieces of fabric at the same time in a layer, but I find these ones are going to match, so I like that, and I'm going to do that to save myself time. So then I set it up, and I'm using both now my template that I made, and I'm going to line that up. You can watch an earlier video and see about that. I'm going to line that up here, and then I'm going to use my chalk, which I just threw out of the way. Oh, there it is. I'm going to use my chalk and I'm just going to mark the corners here because I'm not actually going to cut with them. So what I'm using this for is that concept. If you sew for any length of time, then you know the measure twice, cut once. So because I'm sewing so many bags together at once, I think there's just a greater potential for error. So I'm trying to eliminate that as much as possible. And so measure twice, cut once is what I always do anyway. This gives me the opportunity to do that. I've measured now at 2 and a half, and now I'm going to use my ruler and line that up so I can see 2 and a half and make sure I'm right where I should be with my chalk line on that one. Now I do know that my chalk, this is actually a brand new piece of chalk, so this is pretty thin, but as I use it, my chalk gets a little bit thicker, and so my line might not be exactly in the same place, in the place where it should be. I'm gonna kind of look at it and make a judgment call here. So that is lined up at 2 and a half up and 2 and a half up from here. And then I'll use my rotary cutter and cut. I've got that marking here. I'll know where to stop. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to come here. Oh, I wasn't going to cut. Just did. Oops. Okay. And then I'm going to take and do it opposite. So I'll take this and I use my smaller ruler for this. I could use the bigger one. It's just easier. I line this up, true it all up here. And on my cutting mat, and I look for 2 and a half, 1, 2 and a half, and I'm going to cheat and use this on this direction, 1, 2 and a half. I've got that lined up. I've got this lined up straight, so I know if I cut here, which I'm not going to do, when I cut here, this will be straight, and I'll be over here, and then I'll have all 4 corners cut out, and all this marked. So that gets that prepped. I'm going to stop there with that cutting in case I have to keep filming another one, and I'll show you what my next step is. So I still need my template definitely for this next step. And I'm going to tuck my ruler out of my way. And I'm going to use, I'm not going to be cutting on this. I'm going to be pinning my pockets on and marking. So I'm hoping you can see on this piece of fabric. I picked another solid to hopefully make it clearer. And so what I've done here is I'm going to need to figure out where to put my pocket. And I don't have a template for that. So what I've done is I've kind of created a template. So I know I want to be 3.5 inches down from this short edge. I'm going to move this down here. Hopefully that'll be in camera. So I know I have to be 3.5 inches from this short edge. So I marked on my ruler 1, 2, 3.5. So I don't have to measure every time. I don't have to go, oh, is that 3.5? I put a piece of painter's tape on my ruler so I can get it off super easy. And I'm just going to line that up with the edge, so I know where I'm at with my bag. And the other thing I did was, I know my bags are 15 inches wide. Oops, you need to go to that other video to get that measurement. So I marked on my tape where the center of that would be. And then I can line that up on my mat. And I know that I'm looking at the center of my pocket needs to line up here. And the top of my pocket's going to line up here. So I'm going to line up my top of my pocket here. I know I can find the center by, I'm going to fold it in half. Let me do it the other way. So I'm going to fold it in half this way, exterior, like that. And then I'm going to put a pin in the center here. That again, make sure my pin's in the right spot. Then I'm going to line that up here, and I'm going to move my ruler down, hoping that I stay in camera. And line that up with the edge. Let's see, I'm at a 1/4 inch mark here, 1/4 inch mark here, so I know I'm straight. And I know that my pin is now lined up with the center of the bag, and now I have my pocket position in place, and I'm going to be able to pin my pocket where it needs to be on that. So I just pin it in place. Since it's the only thing here, I don't have to worry about poking another layer, a piece of fabric. I'm not stacking at this point. I don't like to stack. It's not comfortable with it because I feel like your measurements come off. But there we go. And I'm going to put my pin so that when I sew around the seam, it's not going to get in the way. And so I know this right here, see right here, I have my side markings on each side. If I put my ruler there across from one side marking to the other, I can see if my pocket's going to clear the base of my bag, and it is going to clear the base of my bag. So if I have a bigger or a taller pocket, because this is one of the smaller pockets, if it's taller, I might shift it up a little bit to make sure that it actually fits on the bag. So this one's done for pinning the pocket in place. And then I'm going to take my template here and mark, because these are the lining pieces. So I need to know where my hook and loop tape is going to go. And I just put it in place. And I'm going to mark here. And I'm going to mark here. I don't have to mark all the way across. I just have to know where I'm going to start. And then I'm going to kind of carefully lift this up and mark it there. And carefully lift this up. I want to scooch this down. And I'm going to mark it here. And now I know my hook and loop tape will fit the edge right here, and the rest of it will just extend this way, and it'll just be straight. And I'm going to do that on both sides of my fabric, because the hook and loop tape belongs on both sides, so that it has a mate to mate up with. Otherwise it's not going to stick to anything. So I'm going to mark it here again. Hopefully I'm getting it in camera. Using my template to mark it here. And then I can slide this down still along the edge of my fabric here, because I know that's the right length, and I can just mark it here. And I know to butt my hook and loop tape up right up to there, into that little nice formation there. And so that's what I'm going to do for the rest of this evening, and possibly sew these on, maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure how far I'm going to get, but yeah, I think I'm doing pretty good. I still feel like I'm really far behind, but it's going pretty well. I'm pretty excited by it. So thanks for watching. I hope that wherever, whenever at, you're having a great time. Bye for now.